What? Oh. There is a problem in many schools, and the system, I believe it is the way classes are structured, right? Like, what are we doing in high school? Why, as a regular student, am I required to take, what is it? Like, you're required to take these courses in a row, and each one has a prerequisite, which is fine with course workload, right? Because each one increases over time. But at the same time, like, it just doesn't work for everyone. I could care less about English and history. I think it works fine, the way English works. History also works fine with the pathway up, because it's just 4 courses over 4 years, and there's not like any, like, if you're accelerator, let's say, like, you're a super good writer, I don't care about it. I'm gonna just keep it that simple. The math and science courses is where it gets a little wonky, right? The structure in most schools is algebra, geometry. This is 1. Algebra 2, and pre-cal / trig, and calc 1 / calc 2. Pre-cal and trig are interchangeable pretty much as names. Like, you'll learn pretty much almost the same things. I think you might, like, I did pre-cal, AP pre-cal. Like, there's limits, then you have like the cosine functions and stuff, and polar. I think those are the important things that I remember. Trig, I don't know. I'm guessing it's the same. And the cal 1, cal 2, either one or both at the same time, semester type. And so, first of all, Algebra 1 is given as an option to everyone. As, you know, in middle school pretty much. I think that works perfectly. I think in my perfect school system, I would allow this to be 7th / 8th grade, right? You can take it either grade, right? For 7th grade, if you want to take it and then freshman year is automatic if you haven't taken it in middle school. For 7th grade, I would say I would require placement test, or just a test to get into it, plus I feel like A average is mean sometimes, because, you know, there's kids who don't care, but, you know, they don't think about it then. I don't think we should punish everyone for it. I would say A, B. So you have to do good on this test and have an A or B in 6th grade math, right? And then I would then implement in 6th grade. Like, let's put 6th grade in middle school, right? I would implement a 6th grade / pre-algebra class in 6th grade before this, in order to get here as well. And I would just give everyone the option to take that class. And in order to go straight into algebra, you'll have to go get, I would do an 85 actually. I would not do like a 70, right? You have to be, God, yeah, no, 80's fine. I just don't think 70 as a minimum is always great. Like, because you don't need, it's like, you don't need to be in algebra in 7th grade. It's not necessary. You can be if you're really smart, but if you're just like a good student and you get good grades, you'd be fine taking algebra in 8th grade. I'm fine now when I took algebra in 8th grade. I wish I took it in 7th grade, right? But it has no devastating effect on anyone. So that's why I would have such a strict policy to do it in 7th grade. Take a whole test. You have to. This class, anyone could take it, right? As long as your parent or guardian gives consent, and then boom, placement plus the. You have to get an AB average at least minimum, right, for that whole year, and then you have to get above an 80 on the big test at the end of the year, which I would have as a district. Like, this is not a teacher given or teacher graded test, because we shouldn't allow the teacher to just. There's bias sometimes with tests. So that's what I would do. So this would allow anyone who's good enough to take that early and get these grades to move into algebra in 7th grade, because there are kids who are that smart that do great actually. And I'll give them a challenge, right? If you don't get that, it's fine. You just have to take a longer, right? Because this is 2 courses in 1. That's the trick right there, right? If you make it kind of like this 2-course thing, then it's not like they're repeating the same class. They're just taking like a more lengthy version of pre-algebra that is just better. That will dive deeper into it and isn't so scathing the surface of it. I think that's what's important, right? If you can't get the hang of it then here's a longer course for you, right? And so that's why I think it works so perfectly right there. Then algebra 7th or 8th grade. If you take it in 8th grade, then I think, pre-algebra before. Because then you don't take pre-algebra in. Interesting. Anyone can take this. If they don't do good, then they'd have to retake pre-algebra. And so, actually, then I would do 7th grade. Because 7th grade math itself has pre-algebra in it, I think. No, I didn't even take 7th grade math. They're fine. They'd be fine. So if you take the pre-algebra course in 7th grade, then, and you do bad, as in you're not ready for algebra 1, I would have offset course here, insert offset, and I would give it some fancy name, and I would just put kids in it who couldn't handle pre-algebra in 7th grade. Obviously, you'd be taking the 7th grade math, insert. So after you take this, assuming, let's say you fail. In this scenario, you fail. So then you will go and you shall go to 7th grade math, full pre-algebra, right? Full pre-algebra or 7th grade math. We'll just call it 7th grade math and just have them do more advanced 6th grade math, basically. And so, and tingle in the other one. And so, right? But if you fail this, then that's where you're guaranteed to go. To get to regular pre-algebra, you're gonna have to at least pass this class, right? If you fail, you'll still move on. It's just that you don't get to move higher, because this is already an advanced hard class. Anyways, I think we covered all the basics with that. To get into pre-algebra, if you're taking, or to get into algebra, if you're taking the pre-algebra as a 7th grader. And then if you don't get into it 7th grade, I guess that's when you take a weird name. But that shouldn't happen because we already filtered it out. You see, that's the thing. We filtered out by doing this and making any kid who just failed this go to 7th grade math. And so you already, to like even move up one tier and not go advanced, you still have to do this. Boom. Then anyone, they barely passed this, they should be able to, like, let's say they just failed this or got a C in that, they should be fine in pre-algebra. Like, it reinforces what they already know. So the expectation is that at this point, if they're here, they'll automatically make it into Algebra 1 in 8th grade, and they don't have to worry. I think that's what's beautiful about this right here. So 8th grade, don't worry about it. With transfers, that's unfortunate for them because, you know, if you transfer in from another school, let's say you do have this type of program at another school, boom, that's why you have the placement test. So you'd have a test assigned basically for the class you presumably took in order to see if you're ready for the next class. I want to put that eraser right. Nope. Anyways, now this is the part where it's like, nah, geometry is very important, and so I think a full course is fine for geometry. That'd be 8th, 8, 9, 10. So we don't really have a junction here with anyone like going super ahead. And here's one thing about the system that I want to make. Let's say you do take this initial route here. If I make a smoother route here, then you can have, but like you have to make it, that's why you have to make it strict, you know? To get this far ahead, you have to like let some kids down. I think that's okay. I think we're taking it too easy on kids when it comes to like, hey, good job, bro. You got a 71 in your advanced algebra 2 class. Oh, great job, bro. Here, take a advanced placement pre-cal for college credit. That doesn't make sense, right? So yeah. Next, algebra 2. I would have a combined course here of algebra 2 and trig. Each one would take up a semester because algebra 2 is super easy, right? It's kind of like a break from algebra 1 with geometry, but like you're learning the same things. So if you, like any kid who's here super early to algebra 2, they should be able to retain their knowledge well. So get the combined course here, I would require an algebra 1 retest, right? Algebra 1 test, and I require an 80. So study, you know, if you don't study, that's why you're not going to make it. If you study a little bit, you should be able to do fine, right? Algebra 1. And this isn't even getting into like advanced accelerated courses, right? This is accelerated. The combined is the accelerated. I'll get into another thing later. And then finally, yeah, or you can take it normally with algebra 1. This would be 9, 10, 11. And then trig, because taking pre-calculus as a senior is perfectly fine. I mean, with this, like, we should expect everyone to end up in pre-cal, at least at pre-cal as a senior, because they do so well in everything else. So, yep. Okay, so you can combine those together. So that'd be 9, 10, 11 right there. So you combine them together with a test to get into this combined class. You shouldn't let anyone into this test. You would also have to assess geometry test grades. So, you know, I would add the A, B, average to the geometry course as well. This requirement, same requirements from here. And so even if, let's say, I took the 6th grade test and I didn't get the scores to go into Algebra 1, so I have taken the other route, so I'm in 8th grade in Algebra 1. And this is exactly what I did, right? Freshman year, geometry, but I take an Algebra 1 test because I have good memory. I study a little bit to remember some of the memorization things and not as much as the fundamental things. And then I get a good grade in geometry, boom, put me into that Algebra 2 pre-calc course. Easy. Super advanced, shouldn't be like realistically, a regular public school wouldn't have more than 2 classes max of this. Like, that's how hard you need to make them to get into. Because kids, like, some kids move that fast, right? I found both of the classes easy, and I think this would have, like, challenged me properly. Because I shouldn't always, like, the expectation shouldn't be to get a 100 every single time on everything. That's great, right? But it shouldn't be easy to get a 100 on everything, I feel like. If you want to go that route, then you just don't do the advanced classes. You don't push kids to take these. You encourage them based off of how they're doing and their character and personality. If a kid seems lazy but he's super smart, don't push him because you know he's lazy. Anyways, so yeah, then you go to Calc 1, Calc 2. Option, I would say to do both at the same time, I would do a pre-cal test. I would do a test for this, and I would based on test scores, AB in either of these. Actually, I would say to combine them, you need an A in this, and in the combined course, I would give an AB average. I would do AB for both, actually. Yeah, but it's for faster. You have to be fast about it too. Like, this is hard. This is hard to do as a 2-semester course. It's fast. You can get lost really easily, but it's not the worst thing in the world. I wouldn't encourage kids to do this, like, if they don't have to, like, if you don't want to, really. And then, so this would be 10, 11, 12. Right? So you have a clear route of how to get kids from 6th grade to calculus as a sophomore. But then you also have a clear route of how someone who isn't that great at math can go from here to, let's say, just Calc 1 as a junior or a senior, or even just pre-cal. Like, it's okay, right? If you have 60 students per grade level and you're having a different combination, you just sort out the classes and you make sure your teachers are qualified to teach both of these classes. And if I had a teacher who was teaching these, I'd only have them teach between here and here. I'd have connected curriculums and just make it super simple for teachers to, let's say they want to teach 2 at the same time, but these back to back. Super easy for them to be able to do that and not stress about the big difference in, like, tests and things. So this is the easiest path to success. And then from here you would offer like calculus 3 and diff EQ, because I know 2 kids who are taking this as a junior currently. It's because they knew how to beat the system. The system isn't easy to beat, but you can make it happen. My teacher today said, you can do whatever you want, like classes wise and at Martin and stuff. You just have to, like, get your parents to nag them about it enough. And it's like, if you're a first generation, if, like, your parents didn't grow up in America, like mine didn't, like in, like, mainland, right, not U.S. territory, and they don't know exactly how the school system works, right, at all, in your school district, how would they know that they can put you in algebra in 7th grade? They don't. Even though I could have, but they didn't know. So I don't think it's fair for students to be able to do it if their parents beg enough. It should be a clear path, right? Because then it's like, what are we gonna do? Like, are we really gonna just like let these parents, like, my kid's advanced, but yeah, blah blah blah, right? And having combined course. Okay, here's part 2 of it. I would split. This is a lot of classes. This is the only thing that's actually worrying me now, but this is another part to it, right? Starting like here, we're assuming all of these are like within the same school as well, or else this wouldn't work. I think like a K through 12 school, like all like kind of separate buildings, but in the same campus. So I would split everything. I can't draw it. I only have one expo marker. But you kind of split every course except for the combined course and 7th grade algebra. Well, actually, 7th and 8th grade. No. The only course that this doesn't apply to would be the combined algebra 2 and pre-calc course, as well as calc 1 and 2 combined, because those are already rigorous as they are. So it doesn't make sense to split them in any way, because you have to work hard in order to get to those. Those are like advanced classes within themselves. But Calc 1 would also just be one class, because these are like college equivalent courses. So there's no reason for you to be taking regular Calculus 1 and Advanced Calculus 1. If that makes sense. Like if you're advanced, you'll just move into this one. If you're advanced, you would just move into this one too. So this would only apply to algebra and geometry. This actually works better than I thought. Here's the thing. There's people who can learn fast and there's people who are smart, right? You have people who aren't too smart and they'll have to take algebra 2. And then you have people who are smart and they'll have to take algebra 2. But then you have people who are fast and smart. They'll catch on to math quickly. They take combined. So in order for this to work out, each one of these right here, 1, 2, like if you're making it to calculus in high school, you're smart. So this doesn't really matter. Here is where each one of these courses I would split into advanced and regular. And so when you think about it this way, this is like a lot of math classes, right? Let's count. One. These are college, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 11 different math classes, right here. It's combinations of math classes, right? And each one is probably not going to have, each one of these classes is probably, even here, I would apply these, but these are like middle school. Like this would be your advanced right here. 6, and then this is regular. This would be pre-algebra, would be the normal pre-algebra. I would split into regular and advanced right here. No. Huh. I keep on running into this red block. I've done this. Oh, because you don't expect them to do too bad. So it would be one class. I wouldn't call it regular and advanced, but it'd be one class, right? So we'll just call it regular for the sake of this. So I count 11. With these two, would be 13. This one, 14, right? 14 classes plus a regular 6th grade. Because this isn't like anything crazy that, like, you can be smart and do this at the same time with simpler courses. That's not too bad. It gets like when you go down, combining courses can be like, that's when it actually accelerates, not up here. Just takes a little bit more brain power, I believe, if you teach it right. Anyways, with these like 14 courses, right? That's like, well, each one is not gonna have the same like the advanced and regular might have the same amount, but our combined is gonna have like 2 max, like I said, 2 classes max. And the way with scheduling works, not everyone's gonna be able to do that either, which makes it a little bit harder. But that's okay, right? 2 classes total for this. 3 regular pre-cal, 3 advanced, 3 and 3 probably for regular advanced for all of these. Geometry might be a little different because the amount of students. Anyways, you'd have teachers that teach with the students and not with the class, if that makes sense. So, let's say, for instance, our Calc 1 and 2 teacher, the combined calculus and combined algebra 2 and trig, they're gonna. Is this still recording? Okay, good. They're gonna. Yeah. They're gonna teach, like this teacher would teach both of those, because those are like super advanced and they're back to back, so the teacher would be able to kind of grow with the students. I know not every teacher likes teaching the same group of kids 2 times in a row, but with this specifically, I feel like it helps a lot. And then they would also get some kids from the pre-cal route into the combined. Anyways, and then I would do. I would make the Calc 1 teacher. Actually, I would give them. That's a lot. Combined plus Calc 2 plus the combined plus Calc AB. That'd be a lot, but I think it actually works fine. Then I would like combine, like here on these tracks, I would combine the Algebra 2 regular with the Pre-Cal regular and the Algebra 2 advanced with the Algebra 2 advanced. Like one teacher is teaching both of those. That could be a little harder, but I think it's just better than having the teacher teach an advanced and regular course at the same time. And then they have to teach 2 different curriculums entirely for the same class. Like this Algebra 2 teacher is gonna have to make sure, oh shoot, this is my regular class, I'm teaching them adding polynomials. Well, I guess that'd be algebra. Anyways, and then the other teacher, and then they go to their next class and it's like, oh, this one's learning about conics, so they already know about polynomials. And so it just makes it a little bit more difficult. But when you separate the class entirely, they have to learn another curriculum, but it's another curriculum, so it's easier to keep track of than making them teach. Hopefully there's enough, maybe the school is big enough, assuming the school is big enough, you don't have that problem, and you just have 1 regular and 1 advanced. Easy, right? 14 math teachers in total across all these classes. Anyways, this is my ideal math. This is how you hope a child to grow from 6th grade all the way up to DiffEQ, possibly as a junior, and beyond as a senior. You give them the option to, right? But obviously not everyone's ready for that, and that's okay. Would I have struggled if I started Algebra 1 in 7th grade and then if I took this last year, I probably would have struggled a little bit. That's not for everyone, right? I might not even give the combined option if you have this. I feel like that's interchangeable. I think the combined should be, but then if you only leave the combined as a catch-up for kids who got this, then that's not fair to the kids who actually could still take this. I would probably increase the, yeah. Anyways, this is my route for this, so let's move on to the next segment, science. If you have anything to add, drop it in the comment section below. Yeah. I think it's a very interesting topic about the path students should take for the best success and opportunity. And I think math is very important. Math is very fun. And so we should allow plenty of kids to get ahead if they want to. But I would add a commitment as well. Like, you can't just take these at the same time and not take calculus. That's not fair. Like, just to get out of like, I wouldn't allow, and then I would add like stats and stuff to the side, but that's not like on the main track of prerequisites. Anyways. Now here's my next favorite part, right? Science. So science is interesting because there are so many branches of it, right? Math, it all flows linearly, linear, but science doesn't flow in a linear type of motion. And so this is specifically talking in terms of STEM. Within STEM, because there's tons of different classes that are technically related to science, but like those are all like, it's gonna be the same. We're gonna treat that the same as stats. It's not all that, right? So I actually would not I would not actually, whatchamacallit, I would not start off with biology, chemistry, and physics. Or physics. Because, yeah. Okay, let's assume freshman year. Actually, no, we're going to ignore health. And we're not going to add this to my perfect school system. Right? We'll talk about that later. So... one second, please, while I think. So... Okay. So we have chemistry, we have regular chem with your advanced. The advanced doesn't matter as much here, I think. Bio, and then you have physics. Physics is the weird one. It's just applied math. But it's like, you got the math down, right? But the application just becomes so much harder. Anyways, physics. You have AP Chem, AP Bio, AP Physics C. This is a lot of, this is 6 classes already. We're ignoring the fact they have AP Physics 1, AP Physics 2. Like, that is crazy. Like, me, I took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I took 6 of these classes within 4 years. AP Chem would have been super useful, I think. I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much, but now I kind of wish I took it in high school. Not for the credit, just because. Or like the UTA one. Anyways, that's 7 though. Like, this is as an engineering person, why am I didn't take this, my fault. 5, I took 5. That would have been 6. Still, why am I squishing 5 sciences down among my years? Like, I double blocked. I took physics 1 and chemistry at the same time. This was easiest thing ever. This was actually challenging and difficult. So how do we improve this? How do we allow kids to take these harder versions, like 1 or 2, at least 1 or 2 of them, right? And but also like still get this right here, because physics is extremely important, and if this is taught right earlier, then I think it's a good class. So what I would do is I would take out, off the rip, take out this. This shouldn't exist. I don't know why it does. And then I would keep physics C, and I would have it as two options. Because physics C actually, no, I'd have it, no. I would split it into two courses. Even though it is split into two courses, it's taught as one. That says electromagnetism. Imagine it does. So here's what I would do slightly differently. I would give these are not sophomore level courses. None of these are. You shouldn't be taking them as an underclassman at all because the workload is extreme for all of these classes, which is fine, I think, because they're college courses, right? Math wasn't the same because the only college courses are the calculus ones. And so you, like the minimum is that you take it by sophomore year, but math is just different, right? There's so much more memorization and learning that isn't as natural when it comes to these topics. So that's why I feel like you can't just let anyone take these. Here's what I would do. 8th grade, you can take 8th grade science, which in the case of what I did, which I think is fine the way they did it, is general science. You go over environment, physics, chemistry, biology. You go over the whole shabeel. And then you give the option to take let's say, I would say any three of these. You could take any three of these classes early. Yeah, plus 3 curriculum, core science. These are core science classes. You have to take, and the requirement, here's the kick to it. In my school, you have to take biochem. I don't think that's fair. I think chem wasn't the greatest class. Like, it was too simple. Bio was fine. I didn't need to take biology. Anyways, one of three. My fault. 1. And so, but you don't have to. And here's the kick to it is that I feel like it's pretty simple. 2 are required. 2 of these are required. You have to take 2. 1 freshman year and 1 sophomore year. Right? So I would have taken physics, chem. I wouldn't have done biology. Or if I wanted to take all 3, that's fine. It doesn't do you anything though. Because if you take 1 as an 8th grader, you still have to take 2 more later. So only for the most serious of people can take, they have the option to take all 3. So it's like, you're only required 2, like any normal person would, right? But if you kind of want the trifecta of going in depth in these 3 topics, I would we'll add APES onto here, which is AP Environmental Science, because I think that's a pretty good class. I haven't taken it, but I think you learn a lot probably. Anyways, I would allow so someone could take all 3 if they wanted to, because all 3 are pretty important. But if you do want to take all 3, you have to take all 3. You can't just take 1 in 8th grade and then skip ahead. But it allows you to only worry about them freshman and sophomore year. And the kick is that my problem is just AP Physics 1, AP 2, AP C. Having physics right here, you can cover the basics, because AP 2 isn't even required to take mechanics and electromagnetism. So, yeah. And so the problem is though, so yeah, boom. And you have the advanced / regular for all of these. Right? You have advanced / regular, Advanced physics would go over, like, physics goes over all your topics. They would cover in, let's say, AP1 and AP2 on an algebra level. The advanced would reflect more of that heavy rigor and like focused on like making you kind of memorize more things. Let's say, like, let's use my least favorite physics subject, thermo. Right, in regular, with thermo, you would probably learn something more just along the lines of like how when you like the unit would cover very basic algebra, and you can only take this one as a sophomore. Let me add that actually. So at this point, you have to be in at least geometry, geometry concurrent. This is you have to be in geometry to take it, or you'd have to be in you have to be in geometry to take it as a regular, or algebra 2 to take it advanced, which is just which is normal, I think. I don't think you don't need algebra 2 to take regular physics, I think. It's just like concepts, right? It's teaching you problem solving. This is a problem solving class. And I don't think it should not be required, and I think everyone should take it earlier than later. Why are there seniors at my school taking regular physics, or just physics in general? They should have been able to take it freshman or sophomore year instead of, let's say, biology, because not everyone wants to. Like, you don't. It's not health. It's not a health class. It shouldn't be required. Anyways, and you can keep the 4 credit thing. If you want to, junior year, you can move into you can take all 3, but only 2 are required to move on to these classes. That's what I'm getting at as well. So then I would, but yeah, back to my thermodynamics example, if I can remember how thermodynamics work. No, I don't. Anyways, let's do light. Like in light you would do, or like light and sound and wave. For waves, you'd go along the lines of calculating more things such as, let me see. Let me check this. Good. You go over more like, let's say, the Doppler effect with basic algebra, like frequency. Something's moving. Doppler effect is super simple. That was easy. Just like very basic like things. Harmonics is super easy when you don't pile it on with 80 million other things. And then the advanced, I would add, that's why you have to take geometry, right? You add that like kind of cosine and sine. This is all calculator work, so it's not crazy math. But a light enters a bubble at a certain angle, and so because of the way the bubble is, it'll enter at a different angle, and you have to calculate that. It sounds stupid. That's why it'd only be an advanced, right? But it would be a lot, right? It'll cover all those basics, because when you take physics in college, right, you're either taking the equivalent of that, or you're taking the physics calculus version. So this is not a college credit either. So it doesn't need to be advanced like that. But it gets you that basic, like the whole point of having this advanced physics, and I would require advanced physics to take AP C, to be honest. Actually, not mechanics and electromagnetism. I don't think you need advanced for that as separate classes. If you want these combined, you have to be an advanced. You have to get a good grade. But yeah, and I would add a prerequisite to advanced physics where you have to get a good grade in your math classes. You can't be a C student in algebra 1 and take regular physics. That doesn't make sense, right? Reading graphs, very basic in regular physics. Yeah. Anyways, so you take 2. I would take like advanced chem, advanced physics my sophomore year. Like I did normally, except that's my normal route, except I moved chem into my bio spot where I took bio as a freshman, because I don't care. And so then, if I did good enough in advanced physics, which is like, you shouldn't be expected to, but if you do, you can take that mechanics, electromagnetism joint course, which I'm taking currently, and it is very difficult. Like, you have to like I'm paying attention big time in order to make sure I catch everything. If you're not paying attention, it could be a lot harder, and it becomes a guessing game. And it's like, oh, but the AP test is so easy to pass. Yeah, because everyone treats it so lame. It's like why am I getting college credit if I'm getting a 40 on this test? The math doesn't math. Anyways, yeah, that just doesn't make sense, right? If every school treated it like that, like they set the standard higher, and they focused on it earlier with like better. Yeah. Anyways, and then but if you took regular physics or you took advanced and you didn't do exceptional, junior year you could take mechanics. Senior year, you can take electromagnetism. They have 2 separate tests, so that actually works perfectly as well. And so that's where you have to have the calculus involved. So I actually would require pre-cal for both of these, because I'm taking it calculus concurrent, so it works. But you have to take this one first before electromagnetism, because this is easier than that, to be honest. But I would require pre-cal. I'd require pre-cal as a I would require pre-cal for these. But if you're in algebra 2 here, then if you're in algebra 2 here, then you're gonna have to take like AP Chem next, which is fine. Oh shoot, that doesn't work then. Because then everyone's required. Yeah, nope. Because then I wouldn't have been able to take it last year either. I'd have had to take like AP Chem and then take. You can't. This makes it too impossible to separate. I would keep it as one course then, but have pre-cal as a requirement. So it's like sophomore, senior, boom. You can't take it as a junior, but if you're like the double ahead, but yeah, but you got the basic version. And then you can go like take AP Chem, AP Bio. AP Bio, you would have to take this though. Anyways. And then, APES, and then I would add your astronomy course. And such. I got a notification, I think. No? Anyways. Okay. What else am I missing here? Okay, now here's the one of the final things I would do in my great STEM school that's specifically focused towards engineering, and then I would let someone else on my board, people, decide the things for the other classes that I don't care about as much, right? Engineering. How would you work engineering? Because at my school, there was a path, but it was rough. It was pretty bad, I would say. I don't think it was enjoyable. Here's me. This is what I did. Design. Engineering design, basically. I don't remember like anything because it was taught like very out of order, it felt, and then none of it was applied in later courses, which is a bummer. There you go. And then I took Principles of Engineering, POE, and that actually was a good course. The structure was like fine, but I didn't apply anything for my design course. But it covered a lot. It's like it's almost like a general engineering course, which when you think about it should have been actually. Anyways, I'll do this in a second. And then I took digital electronics, which is basically just like very basic computer engineering, I think. But that doesn't make any sense to be like on the path. I took this at the same time as aerospace, and now I'm at internship, which I'm not in the actual class because mine's outside of school, right? But yeah. So aerospace at the same time, which like that's the only. Are you really telling me that's the only class that? Anyways, so here is the ideal. So I think they were doing something right actually with engineering design first, but I wouldn't like yeah. So engineering design. In engineering design, I would teach CAD. Like I would make them, CAD, and this is actually what we learned. Now that I'm thinking about it, engineering. I don't remember it, but that's what we learned. And I'd make them keep the books they use because you journal everything. I'd make them keep it over time because it's so important. I think to keep CAD engineering process. Yeah, that basic stuff. I would do a lot of teamwork projects. I would add some. Uh, uh, I would add some like math things in here, like engineering notation. That's what it is actually. So I think it was perfect, except I couldn't tell like where we were at in the class. I think that's why I don't remember it now. Um, so like engineering notation and stuff. Now that I'm thinking about it, it works. I would teach like CAD. Yeah, I teach CAD. And then I would have like the egg drop project, which I think we did. I would just very basic projects that don't have anything to do with real engineering. Anyways, and then I would move to, and then computer science is a whole different deal that you can take at the same time as this. Poop, just like I do now. Like I did, but I don't know enough about comp sci to make a whole kind of route for that. And then your sophomore level class would be kind of all engineering. In summary. So like all your different types of engineering, I have, like you split everyone from here and you give them like civil, biomedical, and for biomedical I require like a freshman level biomed course. Civil, biomed, mechanical. This is where I would throw in aerospace, just not to the degree that we did it, because it's much more advanced, right? Oh wait, no, you would learn about all of this in one course. Sorry, so you'd spend like, yeah, this is junior level, but you would separate it, but you do very basic work with all of these, right? Civil, not just trusses, right? Civil isn't just structural engineering. Trusses, so I would do like city planning, trusses, like even some like geotechnical things, I guess. Biomedical, I don't know what that entails, but probably should learn something about it. Whatever they do, like prosthetics. In 8th grade, we basically did this as a class. I don't know why I did it as an 8th grader though. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Mechanical, I would do thermo, but make it relate more to like like think about more of the efficiency problems. How efficient is blah 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 when you have blah 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 blah. That's a lot of mechanical, like engines, aerospace. Very like fundamental. Not as much math with everything, but like engineering isn't just straight up math, right? It's communication and planning and teamwork and making ideas come to life. So aerospace, I would learn some fundamentals about the aerospace class, right? What else? Electrical. This is like the basic DE. So circuits, basic circuits on like Tinkercad, basic breadboarding, like on and or nothing crazy complex yet. Electrical. Software engineering would be excluded from this, but I would add like I think it's mechatronics is the actual name, and that would just be like the robotics portion because the vector box are a big thing in engineering classes, even though I could care less, really. But, you know, these are all like 1 units, right? Like, there's 6 weeks in a school year, usually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom. That's 6 of the biggest fields right there. You know, you still have industrial and, 6 big fields right there. So I think that's good. Each 6 weeks, you just cover kind of one. And then as a junior level course, I would take specific ENG, and you choose one of these classes, right? So if you liked electrical, you would take something like DE. And because a lot of people have the option of double block as juniors, it's really easy to actually double block your classes. Like take multiple classes at the same time because they share the same prerequisites. Yes. Yeah. You have the option to do that, I guess, any year. But if you have room, you can take up to, I would say 2. I don't see why anyone would take 3 of these. But like you can combine civil and mechanical, or like whatever you want. I think electrical and mechanical would be combined. Electrical and mechatronics could be combined. These 3 could be combined easily. Mechanical and aerospace. Civil, if you're taking civil as a class, it would just be because you don't know. There isn't a lot of engineering kids who would go down like any of these routes though, because they might not be into engineering. Anyways, I would have biomed people allowed to take it. These classes would be very small. You can literally combine 2 of them in one class too. Like specific engineering, and then like you have one class that's just like 2 of these. One class that's like electrical and mechatronics, aerospace and mechanical, and then civil and biomed, which have nothing alike, but that's the only one that makes sense. And then boom, semester courses. And so you could take, if you wanted to, if you're so unsure, boom, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can get 4 of them knocked out at the same time. Or even combine. Oh, I'm a genius. Okay, you combine them by semester. So you have one teacher teach these 6 courses, but it's there's 3 per semester. And so I'll combine the 3 that are most craziest indifference to each other. I would do civil, electrical, and aerospace first semester, biomed, mechanical, and mechatronics second semester. So it'd be unfortunate because if you wanted aerospace and electrical, you wouldn't be able to do that easily. Actually, you would have to double block them and take 2 of those. Anyways, that's how I would do it for specific engineering. And then senior year, that is where you can apply and grab an internship at companies. And then I would partner up with companies that are related to let's say each of these fields, get them to sponsor the classes. Because companies love to just pour money into children in order for them to learn and grow the field. Hopefully that's what the company wants. This is my ideal engineering course. So let's say me, if I was a student, and I was able to take these my schedule freshman year, I would have been glad to take these. And engineering design, and then your Python course, which I actually did. I think that was, I can't spell Python. Python actually works great as a first course. I think the washer's done, so I'll be back.